Ladies and gentlemen, the following podcast is set for one episode. Your hosts, including today's special guest host, from Columbus, Ohio, and Kissimmee, Florida, are Michael Kirk and Robert the Brain Dunn. Welcome to the Outlaw Mudcast. Hello and welcome to the Outlaw Mudcast, your digital audio dirt sheet for all things Supershow. And today I am joined by not just a special guest, but a special guest host. He is the 2019 SRG Rookie of the Year. He is a former two-time LFF Tornado Tag Champion. He is the leader of the faction known as the Think Tank. And recently, his most recent accomplishment is that he won the 2020 PAX South Heavyweight Championship Tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Robert the Brain Dunn.
Well, thank you, Michael. How are you doing this morning?
I am happy that you're here. I'm sad about other things, so it kind of evens out.
That's pretty much the way of the world these days.
Yeah. So, we're going to talk about my guest. We're going to talk about his event that's coming up February 22nd. So, just under 3 weeks from today, going on at House Rules Gaming in Kissimmee, Florida. But before we get to that, I have to kind of address the elephant in the room. I am recording this at about 10 a.m. Sunday morning. By the time this comes out, the first match of the second round of the 2019 Creative Competitor Competition will have ended. And unfortunately, Ursus has, for the fifth time, lost his match. So first off, congratulations to the Trash Man Neil Nealon and the big guy Garrett Schneider for the victory. And I apologize to my partner, Lucha Monaco Uberstar, Jeremy Steigerwald. I was hoping that this could be the time Ursus gets a victory, gets on to the third round, but unfortunately, just don't have what it takes to get a win. What can I say?
Well, I think you're being pretty hard on yourself there. I think this is a case of a very experienced team of the big guy and Neil Nealon who have, had friends have gone through this before, and they kind of already knew how the whole tagging system worked, and I think they were kind of out organizing you, unfortunately, from the beginning.
Well, that's a failure on my part. I should have done better because I feel like Ursus is a great character. So I know that when he's failing, it's not because he's failing; it's because I'm failing. He didn't really lose; I lost. I'm the one holding him back. If somebody better was being the steward for Ursus, he'd do better. Because it's me, he keeps losing, and I feel bad about that. Because I think he's a great character. I think he's a great competitor character. I think he's probably the best character in the CCC, but I'm holding him back. I'm the stumbling block.
Well, I know for one, there are a number of us here in the Florida Play group who very much like Ursus and want to see him succeed. So one way or another, I'm gonna find a way to get Ursus on a card this year.
I hear that, but every time there's a vote, unfortunately, he never pulls through. So I don't know I'd like to believe that, but I don't know. But anyway, to the listeners who backed Ursus, who believe me, thank you. Thank you for support. And I'm sorry if I let you down, if I did not pull through. Hopefully next time I'll do better. We'll see. I'm gonna keep trying, even if I have to find somebody else. Somebody who's gonna get it done to be the steward to take over. I'm trying to figure out what I can do to get him in the game because I think he's great. I made him because I was trying to make a cool character for the game, and I think people see that. But I don't know. Another failure in a long line of failures.
I think you're being way too hard on yourself.
Sorry, guys. But thank you to all my listeners. Thank you for those of you who did vote and did help me out. I do appreciate that. Just
I think
what am
I
I
think
gonna
you're. I think
what am
there's
I gonna
also
do?
the effect of the CCC being somewhat leaning towards people who don't have any character in the game yet, and I think that's part of what the CCC rewards is those people who haven't had any other characters so far. So I think it's just that's somewhat of an uphill climb.
No. That's enough about the CCC. Of course, next up, I believe, is going to be the team of Dweeb and Nanook of the North taking on Ricky Riot and the Y Warrior. I don't know when that would start. Ideally, I think it would start Monday at noon, but sometimes the way this goes, this might not start till after the next Talk of the Universe.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they want to try to keep these over the weekends just to consolidate the voting when people are more available, or if they're just going to run these consecutive now.
It also comes to how long do you want this contest to go on? I mean, okay, there's 8 matches, so you're telling me we're going to carry this for 7 more weeks just to get to round 3?
Yeah, I don't put anything past.
I mean, we're already. This is the 2019 Creative Competitor Competition. We're already a month into 2020. If we do this for the next 7 weeks, round 3 won't start until March. Late March.
We did just
round
wrap
3
up
probably won't. Yeah, well, again, that's a shame. That's a shame on everyone involved in the last couple rounds. That should have been wrapped up way sooner. And I know that they think that built intrigue. People were happy about that. I think people just got bored and forgot about it. I mean, last week the match happened last weekend. I completely forgot to cover it. Completely forgot because it just dragged on too long.
Yeah, I think on that I think we can agree. There's there's a couple of schools of thought, I guess, in terms of how you want that to look, but I hope that this year it will be at least a little clearer how things are going to proceed after the grand gathering for Faction Wars.
Yeah. We're still waiting to hear the details on the Faction Wars. The last post I saw from Clace implied that it may not be a 4-man team. It may be bigger or smaller. I have no idea.
Yeah, I can tell you that on the think tank, we are definitely planning for larger than 4-man teams this year. Although I also think there's a strong possibility that it could be a variable number and that maybe there's no fixed number of participants required for this year. It's a little bit unclear how they're going to proceed because there's also been no formal announcement whether the prize for Faction War includes title shots this time. Maybe this time the prize is a faction pack. We really don't know.
Yeah, we really don't know. Yeah, and of course, Thursday, the Impact announced that. Impact announced the distribution of the title shots. I'm glad to see that Everett Stevens did at least get included. He will get a title shot. Fortunately, it'll be in the match that I'm in, which I really don't want to face Everett Stevens. I really don't want to be in a 6-man match.
Yeah, 6-person underworld. Whether it turns out to be a birdcage or a hardcore tournament or some other variant, it's definitely changes the odds. You have the uncertainty of what position you'll come in the birdcage. You have the uncertainty of what kind of stipulation you might be facing. I would say your deck is in a pretty good place, maybe better than Edie Fresh's with Caleb Conley. He would be looking for a submission match, but I'm not sure how well he would do in any of the other types.
Yeah, I was kind of when I heard a match being announced on Top of the Universe and they left me out. I was like, good. I don't want to be in a multi-man match. And then all the people in the comments like, what about Michael Kirk? Don't forget Michael Kirk. I'm like, no, please forget Michael Kirk, so I can take my single shot later.
I saw your attempt to volunteer your way into a singles match. I thought that was very impressive on Talk of the Universe.
Look, I would argue that you can get more bang for your buck putting someone else in. As this CCC shows, not a lot of people want to see are gonna get behind me. There's someone else you could put in that would get more support, more cheers. So it's probably gonna make a bigger and better match if you take me out and put in like somebody else.
You are so underselling your possibilities here. I think with a late entry number and some luck on your side, you could do really well in that multi-person match.
Look, I'm trying to take lemons. I'm trying to use my status as getting blown out in the CCC to help me get a better match type. All right, I'd be like, look, I'm not a draw, guys. Don't put me in the birdcage. Put me in like a dark match for the championship. Put me in a singles dark match. Don't throw me in the briar patch.
Maybe you go down to Kentucky and see if Steel Wool wants to kick you for a little bit.
After the performance of the CCC, I probably deserve to be kicked a few times. And have Kirk Polka come at me with the chair. But yeah, so I think that's the first title match that's been announced for the Grand Gathering 2.
Well, it's not exactly the first. I mean, if you think about it, there have been a number of things that have been discussed for Grand Gathering 2.
I think it's the first one they've actually mentioned all the competitors that are going to be in it.
Well, that is true.
That's that's what I'm getting at. Is that it's going to be the first one where we actually know at least we have a much more firm idea of who the participants are going to be.
And I believe the second one that we will know all the participants for will actually happen in 3 weeks at our event here in Kissimmee, because we will be sending the third participant into the first ever Triad title match.
All right, so first, a couple things. First off, that's a good way to start talking about your event. So let's talk about that. First off, it's Kissimmee.
Kissimmee is technically that's the town just south of Orlando where Disney World is.
Okay.
And it is also the town where House Rules Games is.
I've been pronouncing it correctly, and I apologize for that.
That's okay. Kissimmee is that's a very common pronunciation, but it is Kissimmee.
It's Kissimmee. All right.
Yes.
Kissimmee. Okay, so let's talk about that. So, February 22nd, House Rules Gaming, Kissimmee, Florida. We're having a Create a Competitor tournament hosted by you, Think Tank, the store, various other individuals. So, let's start with the time and registration details. What are all those?
Yeah, absolutely. So the store is going to open by 11. If we go any earlier than that, I'll share that with everyone. But the general store opening time will be 11 o'clock on Saturday the 22nd. And we are expecting to have some warm-up matches between 11 and 12. There will be a number of featured matches, some of which have been announced, some of which I can sort of hint at and give you more details on today. There will also be, in the free time, there will be payoff pack triplets. In other words, you will be able to buy a sealed payoff pack and play in a three-way match. And if you win one of those payoff pack triplets and you are going to Grand Gathering 2, then you can be entered into the 9-person tournament to determine who gets that Triad title match. So that will all be starting at 11 in the morning. And then shortly after noon, you know how this goes, right? We're going to say noon, but it always starts shortly after noon. We will start the actual CCC event itself. And I expect that this is going to be close to 30 participants. It is very much on the edge in terms of whether we're going to need a bigger space. So I'm asking all of you who are considering coming, even if you don't go onto the Facebook event and actually register, please just send me a message if you are considering coming. and you have not officially registered, because if we go over 30 people, we're actually going to have to go to the bigger space downstairs in the same building, and we're going to need to try to make that arrangement in advance. So I'm projecting 28 right now, so we're right up against that number. And I think if we get a few more people that plan on coming, then we're going to go ahead and make the plans for the bigger space downstairs in the shop.
Yeah, so please, to help them with their space requirements, reach out to. Would you prefer they reach out to the store, or they need to reach out to you personally? How would they let you know?
Either one would be fine. So my personal Facebook, obviously the brain is my my character page. You can reach out to me under my main page, Bob Dunn. Both of those I'm listed as the host also on the Facebook event, and actually later today I'm going to go ahead and repost all of this information on Facebook. So you'll have in the discussion group, you'll have an updated version of the event with all of these same reminders in it, so that we can sort of reinforce the importance of either pre-registering or just letting me know. And remember, if you pre-register, it's only $10, and you will get that $10 back in store credit on the day of the event. So you're basically paying nothing if you pre-register. If you fail to pre-register, it will be $15 at the door, and you will only get back $5 in store credit.
So it's definitely going to pay to pre-register. Absolutely.
Yeah, we're definitely trying to get as many people as possible to let us know. And obviously, I understand how far of a distance this is. We're not going to try to do this 2 or 3 times a year. We're gonna say, I think that February once a year is probably going to be our max for hosting nationwide events here. But it is our hope that we're going to have, I believe we're going to have participants from New York, Ohio, Georgia, maybe Texas, maybe Michigan, definitely North Carolina and Illinois. So along with our Florida competitors. So we're going to take advantage of that. This sort of is going to be one of the most geographically diverse events, I think, that we host outside of the conventions throughout the year.
Yeah, if you're getting people as far away as Michigan and Texas, that will definitely be very geographically diverse. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it out there. So,
yeah,
I'd love to go to these things, but I don't think a lot of them just travel's prohibitive. I just can't go out.
Yep, we understand, and like I said, I'm hoping that we're going to have, by the time of the event, we're going to have next year's date picked out, so that maybe with a little more preparation, some more people can attend. But we understand that this is a long way to go. I think we're going to draw primarily from the the South region. So if you think of the South region as including, of course, Maryland and South on the Mason-Dixon line, and then all the way over sort of to Texas, I expect that's where we're going to draw the majority of our players from for this annual event.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure you're obviously need all your local guys. I imagine you'll get a bunch of the ACCW guys. Not sure who's flying down from New York. Sure,
well, I can actually fill that in. If anybody is, if it will pique anyone's interest, I can tell you that the current 3-time defending tri-state champion GM Calais will be flying in for this event. As will his oft companion, the loudest man in the LFF, Loudmouth Leo.
Ooh, that's a big get right there.
That is a pretty big get. He and I fought hard over that PAC South championship. I have no doubt that he's going to fight hard over the CAC, since he still is not in the game. And then I also have learned that the Crime Wave is actually sending 2 of their members down. The Cannoli, Anthony Perry, will be in attendance, as well as Public Enemy #1, TJ Marconi.
Right.
So it's going to open up some interesting match possibilities when we go down the official match card here, in addition to the CAC.
So you have Inner Circle represented. You're going to have Crime Wave represented.
Yeah, and then I believe we're going to have the Trinity with Alan Hawkins from Georgia / Indiana will be represented, and we're going to have, of course, some of the ACCW guys coming down, and then a lot of our local players here in Florida, which should be fun. Mad Custodian is also committed to come down, so that'll be nice to have a North Carolina representative.
Yep. I didn't realize he was from North Carolina.
Yeah. So getting back to the details of the day. So again, we're expecting to start shortly after noon. I am expecting that we are going to run bullet rounds for the first 5 rounds. And what I will commit is that we will cut to a top that will be dependent on the number of players. If we are 32 or under, we'll go to top 8. If we're over 32, we will consider going bigger than that. But
Drew, could you say that one more time, please?
Yes. So if we have 32 or fewer players, we will go to a top 8. If we go over 32, we will consider expanding to possibly a 12 or 16, depending on how many players we have in total. But what I will say, and this is I think that's slightly different than other events like this. What I will say is, everybody who has the same record as the worst player in the top cut will have some kind of opportunity to play into the top cut. So if we have, for instance, 2 5-0s and 5 4-1s, which shouldn't really happen, but let's just say we did, and then the 8th place player was 3-2, that would mean that in some fashion, everybody who was 3-2 would get an opportunity to play into the top cut. Something that I think I feel strongly about is that, it shouldn't be random about who gets in the top cut. I feel like if you're letting any 3-2s in a scenario like this, then every 3-2 should have a chance. So that is the strategy that we're going to go with in terms of setting the top cut for this event.
All right. So just to recap, 11 a.m. store opens. You're going to start running the payoff pack. I believe you call them trios.
Yes, payoff pack trios.
Payoff pack trios. And then shortly after noon. So you're expecting what, maybe one round of that?
Yeah, I'm gonna set a cutoff time that we won't start any new ones after 11:30. So if you show up between 11 and 11:30, you can get your first payoff pack trio event in before the start of the tournament. If you show up after 11:30, you're gonna have to wait for the tournament to start to get any official matches in.
Okay, so there will be trio matches after the tournament then?
That is correct. We will continue that all day as long as we have stock on the payoff packs, but only the first 9 winners, and I think that's important to say, only the first 9 winners who are also committed to attend the Grand Gathering and who are already not in the Triad title match, so that excludes TJ Marconi. Only those first 9 winners will get into the actual tournament to decide the 3rd seat in that title match.
And if I remember correctly, it's TJ Marconi and then Loudmouth Leo is the second one in the match?
No, it's actually the Trash Man Neil Nealon.
It's the Trash Man. That's right. I apologize for that, folks.
Right.
Trash Man's beat me so hard, I forgot about it.
Well, he had a pretty good run in a couple of tournaments last year, including when I believe he won the Pittsburgh CAC. Is that? No, he won the Pittsburgh CAC.
He was the runner-up. Jim Bias won the.
That's right. That's CAC, right. But so by virtue of a number of strong finishes, he was awarded the 2nd seat, and the boss has graciously allowed us to fill the 3rd seat. So, when I look at my list of people who are committed to attend, and I think about who's going to be at Grand Gathering 2, it's going to be a lot of them. So it is pretty much going to be a race to win the first 9 seats into this tournament. And then, of course, we will be giving prizes out for every winner of a payoff pack trio. So in addition to getting a $35 payoff pack, which is, again, a little bit discounted, you will all get prizes for these payoff pack trios. You will not have to worry about going away empty-handed.
Yeah. So it sounds like if you win, you're in, and then if you lose, as long as there's no spots, you can jump into another one and
That's
try
right.
to get another win. Now, are these gonna be
That's right.
first fall or elimination?
It's going to be first fall. It will
Okay,
it'll take too long to be elimination. So they will be first fall. Yeah, like I said, the first round will start at 11 and will go as long as we have people who want to participate up to 11:30, and then after that we will transition over to the create a competitor tournament, and then we'll come back later until once we fill the 9 spots, then we may start the triad tournament, if all those people have been eliminated from the CAC.
Now, here's a question I'm going to have about the triad tournament. So, if you get in with the payoff pack,
Yes.
are you required to use that entire deck in the tournament?
In the elimination tournament, yes.
It will when it's like if you're one of the top 9, you get into the next tournament, you're basically taking that same deck and then taking that into the triad tournament to determine who's going to be the last entrant.
That is correct.
Match. Okay.
That is correct. What will happen is if you win and you say, yes, I want in the top 9, we're first going to say, are you going to Grand Gathering 2? And if the answer is yes, I'm going to Grand Gathering 2, then we're going to hand you a prize and we're going to hand you a deck list. And you will have to fill out a deck list with what you pulled from the payoff pack so that you cannot swap anything out.
Okay.
Whoever wins out of that payoff pack, out of the triad tournament, which, hey, guess what? There's 9 players, so you can pretty much figure out what that means. It's going to be It's going to be 3 3-way matches and then a 3-way match of the winners. Because it's the triad tournament, everything is going to be done in triple threats.
Of course.
And so whoever wins the eventual tournament and gets the seat will have to play the character that they pulled, but they will be able to swap their deck, of course, before Grand Gathering 2.
All right, that's probably what we were expecting, but just let's get it on the record to make sure that's what's going on.
Yes, they will have to play the character that they pulled. So it's going to be a good bit of randomness and luck. Let's hope the boss packed some good payoff packs for us.
I hope so. Maybe you'll be the one that pulls the original EC3 with the splash in your payoff pack.
Yeah, sealed is sealed.
It's sealed. I mean, that would probably I have to imagine that's almost a 1 in a million chance, but who knows? I mean, in the LFF lore, Steve once bumped his head and thought he was a pirate. It's always possible he bumps his head again, and Pat gives you an EC with an original EC splash in it.
I would say anything is possible. I have seen some of these payoff packs where, I've had like a foil Armenian and then 2 other really good cards and a power bomb or something like that. So, yeah, it's very much going to come down to what you pull, in terms of how you proceed forward in the tournament.
Yes. I do want to talk about some of the new payoff pack cards a little bit, but let's before we get into that, what else is on the match card? So first, before I forget, we've got the triad starting at 11, cut off at 11:30.
Right.
Create a competitor tournament starts.
Starts at noon.
Starts at noon. Goes through 5 bullet rounds, a top cut. Now, if you don't make the top cut, are those people going to be able to start to jump into triad matches?
Yes.
Okay.
They will.
So if you think you're making a top cut, you probably definitely need to get there at 11 o'clock and try to get your trios in beforehand, because you're going to be at a disadvantage if you don't win before.
Correct.
Correct. Although, yeah. So I'm going to recommend that. Also, you talked about filling out a deck list. Do players need to have a deck list for the Create a Competitor tournaments?
Yes, because we will have a random stipulation round somewhere in the top cut. So we will be requiring deck lists. And again, I think there's a pretty standard PDF that's floating around. I will provide copies of that, and we'll have printed copies at the store for everybody who shows up. But we will want a deck list for confirmation that you're not swapping cards out when you see what your random stipulation is.
Yeah, if you're looking for a copy of that form, I believe There's a copy saved in the SRG Supershow discussion group. It's saved there. You can download it there and fill it out yourself.
Great. Yep, and I will provide a link to that through the Facebook group again when I send all this out later today.
All right. So, and of course, in addition to the 2 tournaments, there's going to be, I believe, you mentioned. If you haven't, then this is breaking news. Sort of matches on the match card.
Yes. So I have confirmed a number of matches, and then I have a number of tentative matches on the match card. So first of all, the Reverend Robert Torn from ACCW is planning to have an exhibition tornado tag match against the current ACCW tornado tag champion, Hold the Line Harry.
All right.
And I've been told that the Reverend has something special in store for that match. I don't have all the details. I'm leaving that partly to him as a cross promotion with ACCW. Of course, we support all of our local Deep South partners here. So if any of the other southern states want to hold title matches, we would welcome that. But the only one that I'm aware of will be the Reverend Robert Torn and Hold the Line Harry in a tornado tag exhibition. In addition to that, I have a very likely chance that the tri-state champion will be in attendance. And I've been told that the boss has authorized us, if the tri-state champion is either the GM, John Calais, or anyone else who's attending this match, that they should defend the tri-state championship in the store. So, assuming GM Calais doesn't lose it between now and then, he will defend against someone, and I will, of course, leave the someone up to the boss. So hopefully he hears this and gets to pick his next defense for GM Calais here at the Sunshine Smackdown event.
Yeah. So I do believe that would be a limited pool, because if I remember correctly, don't you have to be either from New York, New Jersey, or Pennsylvania?
That is correct.
Championship? All right.
That is correct. However, Public Enemy #1, although he did have a number of rematches against the Perfect Assistant, Faye Mysterious, he has not had a shot against GM Calais. And of course, Loudmouth Leo, being from the same faction, has not taken a shot at GM Calais. So it'll be interesting to see, actually, and if you look at it, and we didn't really talk much about the Rumble at Highlander from last week, but actually, of the 3 New Yorkers who could challenge GM Calais, TJ Marconi's wife had the best performance at the Rumble tournament. She was the one who made the top cut and very nearly found her way into a stipulation match. So, TJ Marconi is bringing his wife along, as they will be vacationing here in Florida. So maybe she's the one who will be challenging Calais for the title.
It's possible. The match I was kind of thinking you might see happen, because of course Calais, I believe has 19 defenses with the I believe it's the Bluegrass Championship. Is that correct?
Yes, okay. That's correct.
You also are going to have in the building Alan Hawkins, who has, I believe, 19 or perhaps at this point 20 defenses with the ACCW Championship.
That is a very interesting possibility. Of course, I don't know that they would want to make it a title for title match. But it is a very interesting exhibition.
Could be an interesting exhibition, possibly. Absolutely.
Now those are a couple of title matches that I know are happening. We are also going to do a headlining match after the CAC wraps up, and that will be the Interstate Showdown, and that will be a hardcore tournament that features the top 6 finishers from different states from the CAC.
Oh, okay. So this will be
the first time again that I'm aware of where we have enough people from different states that we can say we're going to have, for instance, we could have a participant from New York, whoever finishes best out of the 4 New Yorkers, whoever finishes best out of all the Floridians, whoever finishes best out of North Carolina and Ohio, etc. And I am expecting that we will have enough different states represented to make that a hardcore tournament. And there may be an additional surprise for the winner of that event. I'm not going to say anything further at this time about that. However, I will say that for those of you who are south of the Mason-Dixon and east of the Rocky Mountains, you should be very much wanting to attend this event. There may be an opportunity to do something that's a first of its kind on February 22nd.
That sounds quite intriguing. Now, are you going to have to play the same deck you played in the CAC in this?
Yes, you will have to play the exact same deck with the same deck list. So again, it's, prepare for stipulations. If you intend to do well in this, you will have to get through one of a number of different stipulation matches.
Yeah, I'd also say if you're maybe the only person from your state coming, and you think you might have a shot in this, you better make sure you've got some hardcore stuff in the deck. Looking at you, Anthony Perry. If you end up being the lone Ohio representative,
well, believe it or not, I don't believe he's going to be the lone Ohio representative.
Ooh,
I have it on good authority that the frequent flyer and family may be making their way from Columbus.
Okay.
So, Perry may have a strong challenge there. And I don't mean from the frequent flyer. I mean from Mallory, who I know has been a thorn in everyone's side in Columbus for months now as the champion there.
I wouldn't say she's been a thorn in everybody's side. She shows up every now and then. rolls well, wins. She's had 3 defenses.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Since the summer.
Okay. Well, that's I mean,
I think she won it. She won at Monroe, Michigan, as part of their tournament, which I think was that pre Gen Con? I think it was pre Gen Con.
Yeah, I think so. Well, she's still got more defenses this year than Brock Lesnar.
Well, yeah, for this year just started. I don't think he has any.
Right. So anyway, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I do hope it's going to be a lot of fun. There are also a number of non-title implication matches that may happen. I'm not going to confirm any of those until we know the exact match card, because I don't want to overfill the day. It's going to be a very full day. Hopefully everybody gets to stick around and have some fun. I know, for instance, that Shade, who happens to reside here in Florida and be part of my faction, the Think Tank, has been stalking the Inner Circle for a while. He's got a real problem with what they're doing with his competitor and how they're basically, impersonating him in these tag team matches. So it would not surprise me if Shade were to, make some kind of a challenge to the Inner Circle in some fashion. And I think we've got a number of other possibilities, but I don't want to confirm any of that until we're actually sure it's going to happen.
All right. So one of the things that happens with all these CAC tournaments is there are promo cards that are part of the tournament that are handed out to those who sign up. So let me ask the question: will there be promo cards at your CAC?
I do not believe that we are going to have the promo cards exclusive this time.
Okay.
Part of the side effect of it being a free CAC is that we are, in effect, eating some of the costs. So, no, it's just. I hope that next year we're going to do it right. We're going to, plan it a full year in advance, get the promo art done in the summer, and then have the cards ready by February. That would be my plan for next year. But for this year, this was kind of a proof of concept. Like, could we actually get people to travel for this? I think the answer is yes. And now, next time if we do it right, it'll probably be a $20 event and there will be some kind of promos involved.
Okay. That's fair. I understand that. I think people definitely will understand that.
There will be plenty of prizes, some provided by the boss, a lot of them provided by me. So again, everybody's going to walk away with something, but but the abilities to make your own character in the game, obviously huge. The top 4 finishers in the CAC will all get some kind of special prize. And then, of course, the winners of all these trio payoff pack pods will all get prizes as well to pick from.
All right. Is there anything else you want to add about the what would you call it, the Sunshine
Smackdown?
Sunshine Smackdown.
That is officially the name we're going with. We will probably now try to make that an annual event, as I said. We're gonna. There may be a pre-show. If you make it in on Friday, don't hesitate to contact me through Facebook, or you can ask for my direct number. We're not sure where that might be yet. It might be at the store. It might be at my house because I live right down the road from the store, relatively. So it's unclear where that's going to happen, but very likely there's going to be some shenanigans as always whenever we get together. And I just hope it's going to be a good time and something people want to do again.
All right. So that is the Sunshine. I keep wanting to say Summertime Smackdown, but it's the Sunshine. It's the Sunshine Smackdown, February 22nd. Highly recommend you be there at 11 to get your shot at the trios, in the trios matches, so you get that shot at the Triad Championship. Again, remember, make your deck list, have your deck list ready when you get there. Also recommend, because if you don't, that's time you're going to take away from being in a trios match to fill out your deck list. So I definitely recommend you have your deck list ahead of time. And look for the Facebook post to set up for your pre-registration, and to I believe there's going to be a link there to prepay as well.
There is, actually. So the registration will require you to pay the $10 at the time, and then you will get that back, and we confirm that on the page. You will get that $10 back in store credit.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to add about the event?
No, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's a good proof of concept. I am certain it won't be the last Create a Competitor in the South this year. Of course, we've got another one coming up even the following weekend in Oklahoma. And I think it's good. It's starting the trend of the game growing outside of the Midwest region in ways that will hopefully allow it to really start to blossom. And I think it's great for SRG.
I agree with that. I think it is great for the game to start growing in areas outside of, essentially the New York area where it was created, and kind of the Midwest where we have Gen Con and Origins. It kind of seems like those are kind of the two big areas where this game has grown from. And it's good for me because Origins is close, but I do want to see this game. The bigger it gets, the better it's going to be for all of us who play. Right, and then, of course, outside the Sunshine Smackdown, House Rules Gaming in Kissimmee, Florida, you play, I believe, normally, Sunday nights at 6?
Sunday nights at 6, that's a good time to get there. Yeah, we usually have a tournament that starts at 7. We get a little, casual play in around 6. Tonight will be, of course, watching the other big bowl as we play, but enjoying my first time back with my local play group in about a month. I have been traveling to a variety of national and regional SRG events, so I have not played with my play group in almost 4 weeks.
Yeah,
it would be nice to get back there today.
So I mentioned this earlier when you were talking about the payoff packs. So they put out some new cards in the payoff packs. Just want to talk about them and get your thoughts on them. So we'll start with the King's Welcome and Forget About It. What do you think about the changes to those two cards?
Well, I think it's worth it. And of course, I assume then you're going to go right into the Ride the Wave, which is the strike version of those two as well.
I actually have not seen Ride the Wave, so that's a brand that is an exclusive as far as I know. I've not heard anyone talk about Ride the Wave.
That is a new item as of last weekend, apparently. It is commissioned by the Crime Wave, so So yes, Ride the Wave is the strike version that does the same thing. Bury 3, draw 4.
I'm sorry,
And,
I'm laughing at commissioned by the crime wave.
well, they have a guy.
Steve told himself to make the card, and then gave himself money to do so.
I guess I'm proud. He probably had to pay an artist.
Yeah, that's true. He did probably. Well,
If it's just like TJ Marconi scribbling on a piece of paper, then I guess we'll know they didn't pay for the art.
I've heard a rumor that which Steve has denied, that Steve is Arnoff Panda. I don't know if that's true.
That's an interesting rumor. Certainly one way to spread it.
I don't think I've ever reported that, but I've heard that rumor. I don't know if that's true. He denied it, and so I'm gonna say it's not true. But he has told me things before in person that were denied things that turned out to be true. So I'll have to take that with a grain of salt.
That's fair. So yeah, I think those cards are much better value now. I think early game, if you hit one of those, I mean, think about what you're doing, right? Maybe you've already played a stop, so now you're down to 2 cards in your hand. Then you play that card, you're down to 1 card in your hand, you bury the 1 and draw 4 new ones. That's a really good exchange early game.
No, that is a really good exchange early game.
Less useful late game, but that's okay. You don't need to round 3 of them.
Yeah, no. It is less useful, but again, if you get down to late game, especially if it's a game where there's no count out, you only have 1 card in your hand. Maybe you play something to shuffle stuff back in, and then you play that card and you get it all back.
Right.
So there's definitely uses for those cards. And of course, forget about it. The new Bombada card, the new Italian Bombada competitor card, his gimmick is going to involve that card. Forget about it.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see if we're going to get Bombada in like a more traditional gangster attire. Like, are we going to have Bombada in a suit with the horse head like in a bag instead of on top of his head?
I don't believe so. I've seen a glimpse of the art. The big thing that stuck out to me was I believe the background is Italian flag.
That makes sense.
So it is art. That's the only art I've gotten a glimpse of. I haven't gotten a glimpse of the new art for the other 3. I'm also wondering if they're going to upgrade Lorenzo Manicotti's gimmick to make it more playable.
I would think, if anything, the boss will find some way to make it more useful, yes.
Because we've seen that. We saw, of course, Wooly Bully and Slash Gordon's gimmicks both get upgrades recently. So it makes sense his gimmick would get an upgrade. And of course, we know the Bombada's gimmick's getting an upgrade.
Yeah, his gimmick doesn't need much help, especially with the unstoppable finish line.
Yeah, that's going to be a big thing, because now he's going to be able to pull that finish out. He couldn't do that before.
Right.
And then, because we talked about that.
I saw there were some other new cards in payoff packs as well. The new stop any lead or finish cards that also reduce your opponent's hand size by 1.
Yeah, I believe those are Lightning Lariat, Roll Through, and I want to say the last one's Shoulder Lock. That's the strike, grapple, and submission.
Yeah, I mean that's all news to me. So those did not. I'm going to tell you, those did not make it into the Highlander Games packs because I bought 8 of them, and I did not see any of those cards in the Highlander Games payoff packs. So now I'm kind of wondering if they made it into into the packs that we have here in Florida for our event.
I don't know. I know that we opened our GM bought a couple of those payoff packs, and we drafted one someone bought one from him, and we drafted one last night. And at least in one of the packs, it had I believe it was I'm pretty sure it's Shoulder Lock. I'm not 100% on that, but I believe that was the submission he pulled. And then I know that Colin got a Lightning Lariat.
Okay.
And of course, someone's posted the roll through on the discussion group somewhere. The reduced hand size reduction. I did not expect to see the finishes reduce the hand size. Obviously, if you're a King Cold player, that's going to be great for you.
Yeah, or a new Mr. Snap player.
That new Mr. Snap player. I believe there's going to be another a new competitor coming out at some point soon that also has a gimmick that reduces game size?
Well, I certainly know something about that, considering that he's in my play group. The Mad One, the great evil of the universe is is going to be taking advantage of those cards, I suspect, as well. I can't imagine he would not run them, and it's going to be nasty.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit. Heard a little bit about the gimmick, and yeah, it's going to be nasty. I'll kind of wonder if it's going to be too nasty.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way: King Cold does almost the same thing all the time, right? So it is balanced. I think everybody who's looked at it agrees that it's balanced. And you just gotta rush him. You gotta play fast against that character. That's all. But it all will be revealed in due time. I think Ray is gonna make a big splash here in our CAC event. Wouldn't surprise me at all if he wins it. And I think he's gonna make his presence known very quickly on the national stage.
Yeah, I do always kind of wish that the gimmick I suggested for him was the gimmick he ended up going with. Although I understand why he won't think he did, because I thought my gimmick was interesting. But his is I can tell you his is stronger than what I suggested for sure.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
Yeah, there's no question his is stronger. All right. So those are the new cards that I know of that have come out. Haven't really heard anything new on the Kickstarter front. That is one thing I noticed about your event that I think I've brought it before. I'll bring it up now for those who are traveling to Kissimmee, Florida for the Sunshine Smackdown. If you're leaving on Sunday, because Sunday is going to be the day that the Kickstarter goes live, if you're looking to get a creative competitor, I recommend you need to probably plan around, making sure you're somewhere where there's a computer where you can submit your bid.
Yeah, I would definitely, download the Kickstarter app. I believe there is one on your phone. Get your payment information all up to date. Make sure you have the link. I'm sure they're going to post the link the week before because they'll probably be able to put it up in some sort of pre-registration state. It's going to be critical. I know that a couple of people who are actually staying with us, staying with me here at my house, have already said, yeah, we've got to be able to get online that day. It's have access to the Wi-Fi and be ready to jump on that. And I'm not planning on backing at the create a competitor level, but I am planning on backing at the create a card level.
I'm assuming you have a card in mind.
I do. I have a very iconic card in mind. Let's put it that way.
I don't want to give too much away because I don't want someone to steal your number, steal your card. Would you be comfortable saying if it's going to be a lead, follow up, or finish?
It is a lead.
Okay.
I know a lot of people are going to go for the stops, and a lot of people are going to go for, the whatever, the C1 stop one type cards, and that's fine. I could do that, but I don't need to. I think there's let me put it this way: there's an unreleased card that needs to be released, and as far as I know, the only thing preventing it from being released is that it doesn't have an art that can be released. So I am targeting that card.
Huh. Wonder what kind of art. Does it just not have art at all, or was there an issue with the art?
Well, it has an iconic piece of art on it. Be careful how I say this. It has an iconic piece of art from a famous performer in that other organization that we know. But that was never allowed to be released. So I think it's that's as much of a hint as I think I can give away.
Is this a card going back to almost the? Is this a performer that was at one time independent and then later signed with an organization?
No, believe it or not. This is
going back to the early days of the game.
No, it's actually
Okay.
fairly recent. This is a man of a creed. Let's put it that way.
Creed. Huh.
But his creed prevents him from releasing the card. Maybe not wanting to put his position. He's in a very unique position, I would say, within
Okay.
WWE, being that he gets to operate both under his old ring name for certain things and under his WWE ring name for other things, and I think it's a little different than what some other people maybe were willing to take a chance on.
Okay, I think I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
So, kind of a less similar, some along the lines of a Prince of Fashion, perhaps.
Yeah, that the art would have been like that, but it was not. Unlike Prince of Fashion, it was not authorized by. They put the art up, and he said no. They had to put it down, and put it away.
All right, now you're spelling it out too.
Yeah, I know.
we went the opposite way. All right. No, I'm not gonna get nominated for an award next year. Say that much with that.
Well, we're gonna dig deep into all this stuff now, right?
I guess so. But yeah, at one point, I don't think I'm going to participate in the creative card. I think I might go for creative competitor again this year. But I'd one time, if Ursus had gotten in, I might have gone ahead because I think part of Ursus's gimmick will be that cards named Bear Hug are also finishes.
That makes perfect sense to me.
Could have made an all-star Bear Hug with Ursus putting the Bear Hug on somebody.
Yeah, I would imagine there's going to be a rush on number 15 slot though. So are you going to get in ahead of Single Leg Crab or
Oh, I'm not going to do it because Ursus didn't make it.
Right.
No. Ursus, I just gotta wait till next year to see what happens. I'm that's one. The other thing too is kind of bums me out because I have other ideas I want to put in the CAC, but I can't until Ursus gets in at some point. I'm riding that horse till he dies or something.
Well, I can tell you that if I get the card slot I want, I would like to put Ursus on my card. I would like to force Steve to do the art and put Ursus on my card and have that be his first foray into the LFF.
All I ask is you don't job him out and make him look stupid.
No.
I know that the big guy at one point was talking about having his submission be like a pinky toe hold that he would lock on Ursus, and I'm like, come on, man.
That's terrible. Yeah.
I wouldn't disrespect you like that. I wouldn't make a card with the big guy like crying in the corner and with a diaper and a bonnet. Why are you gonna do something like that to me, big guy?
No, if I had it, believe me, if it was Ursus, I would have Ursus like roaring in a corner and two jobbers hiding in the other corner in a handicap match.
That's enough Ursus talk.
All Ursus radio.
No, let's talk about some winners. But yeah, I think that's all. I keep feeling there's one other new card that came out that Babata posted when he posted "Forget About It" that I'm forgetting. Oh, I know what it is. It's the new Superman punch.
Right.
The new +2 Superman punch.
The long rumored Superman punch, which
that's right.
You would think if there's a Superman punch, there's also like a spinning side slam or whatever the other ones are that stop a finish, and then your next turn was +1.
Yeah.
You would think those all would get an upgrade, but it just seems like they're very rare.
Yeah, all that stuff seems very rare. I would like to get a Superman punch because there's a deck I run that would use it for sure.
Yeah, pretty much everybody would have, I think, some deck now where they would like a +2.
Yeah.
I mean, +2 after a stop is pretty impressive.
Well, it's because I'm running a deck that uses Superman punch specifically. So a better Superman punch than what I have would be good.
Right.
Although there's a downside. That all Superman punch does is just make Booker Mania better.
Well, sure. I mean, in a world of diminishing returns, right? Booker always gets just one better than you do. So
yeah,
at least he doesn't get two better than you do because you got +2.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't remember what I said initially, but I kind of look at that sometimes and think, I feel like it's a little too strong. I feel like Booker Mania might have been a little better with this +1. If your opponent bumps it all, +1 to you, +2 if it's a card. The idea that I would work somehow to get a +7 and he gets a +8, it's kind of depressing.
Yeah, but well, we could go a long time on this topic, I suspect. The topic of silver bullets has come up recently, right? Because Booker Mania being in the card pool helps change the entire meta, right? It takes, if you remember where we were like a year ago, everybody ran the +2s in 16, 17, 18.
Oh yeah, no,
Right?
and I think they're still strong.
They are, but now they're
And
risky,
that's what,
right?
yeah, right. Well, and look, and like I said, my proposal basically just evens it out.
Right, but the presence
Yeah,
of Booker Mania just means that
yeah, it just means you're less likely to run those.
it means if you run them, you're taking a risk. You just assume that if there's a possibility of Booker Mania in the pool, that you're going to probably lose that matchup.
Yeah, it does. Yes, I mean you're right about that for sure.
I mean, it's just like, okay, so in our event, we know the Reverend Torn is coming. He is very likely to play the Reverend Robert Torn. So if you're playing a strong burial or discard mechanic, I mean, yeah, you can do that, but you might lose hard because he's going to play the Reverend Robert Torn, and if you get paired up with him, your cards are basically useless. Which actually leads me to a point we did not cover, Michael, and I apologize for that. We should talk about
Okay.
the band slash booked gimmicks for our event at the CAC.
All right, for the Sunshine Smackdown, who are the cards that are going to get smacked down before they even start the tournament?
Yes, well, I mean, 3 of these should be no surprise, right? As far as I'm concerned, in all real LFF booking at this point, original Ariel Lipstick, original Victor Brick, original Immortal Warrior should all be considered tag teams only. If you try to play them as singles characters, I will instead offer you a replacement from my character binder, but you will not be able to play those as singles characters in our tournament. You can play the flip versions. The flip versions, those are what I would call the V2 Immortal and Vic are playable, of course. And the V2 Ariel, which is, don't sleep on her. The new version of Ariel is also very good and is playable as singles.
Yeah, I've heard that. I haven't played her yet, but I've heard from people. I've seen her posted that she's still pretty.
Right.
She's just not as negative play as she was before.
Right, she's very strong. She just doesn't make it as unfun to play against. You at least get a shot to hold your stops, for instance.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Grimm, as far as I'm concerned, Reverend Robert Torn has made it clear that Grimm is no longer welcome in the ACCW. In keeping with that, keeping with our alliance with ACCW, Grimm is no longer welcome in the FCW either. Florida Cardboard Wrestling, which is the official statewide SRG sanctioned body, will no longer allow Grimm in any kind of competitive play at all. And the only other adaptation that we will make is this: if you are playing EC3, he may be in the 1%, and therefore you are giving your opponent an opportunity to select every stipulation in every round. So if you play EC3, regardless of whether you have the EC splash or not in your deck, your opponent will choose the stipulation at the beginning of every round, not just the stipulation round.
Official LFF stipulations only.
Yes, of course. They have to be a printed stipulation that that person owns and has with them. So they cannot choose a stipulation that they do not own and present, but they may own and present any set of stipulation crowd meters that they choose at the beginning of that match.
All right. So obviously, you did not mention, of course, the general manager Don Calais. So I'm just gonna throw that down now. Legal, illegal.
Yeah, he will be illegal as well. I should have said that. So GM Calais, I think it's pretty clear at this point he is also on the officially removed from playlist everywhere, so he will not be legal in our event. I would not put it past him that there will be a GM Calais 2.0, and it would not surprise me at all if he brings that and plays it, which would be fine. But original GM Calais changes the stipulations is not allowed.
Let me get your opinion on GM Clays. Do you think it's only the submission stipulation that's a problem, or do you think it's any stipulation that's a problem?
I think it's not just submission, but it's not all of them that are problematic, right? So I can't even remember which ones he can change it to because there was only a list of like 5.
It's 4. I believe it's steel cage, lumberjack, submission, and maybe ring of fire.
Yeah, I mean the problem with steel cage, there's good and bad to it, right? But the problem with steel cage is so many decks are dependent on recycle. If that's not going to apply to, if that's something that your opponent plans for and you don't, that can be really problematic. But yeah, I think it's mostly just the timing of the submission match is really the ultimate reason to say we're not going to do that. I will also say, and I should be clear about this, our bullet rounds will be capped at 30 minutes.
So if you hit the 30-minute time limit, what will happen?
The crowd meter immediately goes to 5.
All right, and it will just stay at 5.
It will just go to 5, and that's where it will be for the duration of the match, unless you have a crowd meter on the table that goes higher than 5.
Okay. I think outside of last man standing, there's no singles.
Well, the last man standing ends at 5 as well. So
that's right. Okay.
TLC would be the only one I know.
You're right. TLC, yeah. TLC would. Because I don't believe the new tag is out yet.
It's not widely distributed.
Commercially,
so that's a bit of a weird situation too, right? You have to play a tag match to get the tag stipulation right now. Is still how I'm being told, and I do have a copy because we did play. I played a Crowd Meter 7 tag match at PAX South in the Chaos event on Friday night.
That's strange to me.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe it'll be in the Kickstarter because the Kickstarter payout will be about tag teams, so that would make sense.
Yeah, actually, because there is going to be a starter set that's a tag team starter set.
Right.
So
it makes sense to me if that were just included as the crowd meter in the tag team box.
Yeah, I wonder who the 4th tag team is going to be.
Well, let's see. We know about we know about the numero uno and gold standard, right?
Yeah, that's right. We know cryptocurrency, which is those guys.
Right.
We know storage warriors.
Right.
Which is Warehouse and the Masked Llama. And we know Black Lipstick is Ariel Lipstick and Sage the Wicked Witch.
Right. And I think the boss has made it pretty clear that Witch Hunter General is going to be involved in some fashion.
Okay. I've not seen that. He did mention people probably should look at trying to get it, which I do remember him saying that.
Yeah, he's hinted at that.
He's saying I do remember hearing those hints. So yeah, that could be possible. That's the 4th.
Hopefully he doesn't combine it with like another burial gimmick of some kind, but it would not shock me at all to see Witch Hunter find his way onto a tag team, and I think that's a good way to use the older characters to to give them a second chance at life, for example, on a tag team.
I wonder who would pair with Witch Hunter. Of course, the Warehouse Masked Llama pairing was kind of a surprise. Although when I saw the out package pile driver, it made that to me is what made it make sense.
Right.
But I don't know what what would tie in with the Witch Hunter General.
Yeah, among the characters that was released in that time frame, for instance, that's really hard to say.
I'm trying to remember who came with Witch Hunter. I think it was Ariel Lipstick that came with Witch Hunter.
Right. Would you do Witch Hunter General and Chamomile Tea? Make it Team Little Big?
Witch Hunter General and Chamomile Tea. I don't know what you'd call that.
That would be, like the team Little Big from the other organization, Mixed Match Challenge, right?
Yeah. So, yeah. I don't like that name. That's a problem. I'm trying to think like what's a better name for Cameo T and Witch Hunter in general.
I don't know. I'm sure.
I don't know.
My understanding is that a lot of this art is already at the printer, so I'm sure that the boss has come up with something good for us.
Well, I'd have to imagine a lot of this stuff is at least, especially if he's looking to get it out before the Grand Gathering. And I
Well,
don't know if
at
it's
the
gonna,
Grand Gathering,
yeah, well, that's what I guess I mean get it printed, shipped, all that. So
right?
it's at least there. We'll be able to pick it up like we did last year, especially with the much shorter time frame because I believe the campaign's going to run 4 weeks.
It wouldn't surprise me if this is only like a 2 or 3 week campaign, but yeah, I think that's pretty clear that the SRG team already has a pretty good estimate of how much they expect to sell, and they've already gone ahead and printed at least that much material, so that those of us who are going to Grand Gathering 2 will have to, of course, pack our suitcases in a way that we can take back all the extra stuff we just bought. So
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, for someone like you, that's gonna be a thing. I just put it in the trunk.
right. I keep finding new and creative ways to bring additional storage, and every time I do, it's like that wasn't enough.
Not enough.
So I'm still trying. I've got a binder full of extra characters, a second binder full of trade stuff. I'm gonna have to bring like a long box or something to put the Kickstarter stuff in. Not that I'm complaining. Not that I'm complaining.
Not that I'm complaining either. Yeah.
I do love the new material, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing the new cards. What do you think of the way that they're sort of releasing new cards incrementally now in the payoff packs? How do you feel about that?
I saw someone. I don't know if I want to give out the name, but I saw someone post that one of the great things about this game, and I agreed with him, was that you weren't having to sort of open packs and chase rarities.
Right.
And so now I do believe these cards will eventually become widely available. And that just for right now, when in the initial releases, you are kind of having to buy payoff packs and hope you get some of these cards or try to trade for them or buy them on the secondary markets. I can tell you for someone like me, where it's like I really do like some of these cards. I absolutely do want the new versions. Like I mentioned, the Superman Punch. I'd love to have a new Superman Punch. I believe I at least hunted down one set of the Armenians, which you helped me fill out originally. Which thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean,
I can see that point. It's really just I think the thing is just it just makes it so that if you want something, you just gotta have to you have to decide. Okay, do I want to gamble and try to hunt for it in packs, drop buy 2 or 3 payoff packs so if I can pull it, or just wait till it eventually goes out for sale.
Right. The other thing I think it's done, and I think I think this is an unintended but good side effect, is it's given play groups more opportunities to have things like a prize pack, right?
Now that is true because that is something I know we've done locally. I think you've probably done it locally as well. Drafting payoff packs.
Yes, and that is our primary method of prizing right now. Is we basically buy in, and based on the number of players, we either open a payoff pack or a payoff pack and a mystery box, and then we draft in order of finishing each Sunday. So it's nice that okay, now there's some stuff in there you might be able to draft and get without paying the full payoff pack price.
Absolutely.
And I think everything will be available. GM Calais is clear in my conversations with him. They will always make the rest of the cards available eventually.
I believe that as well. Yeah.
So I think that some people are gonna have concerns about it, but in reality, look, you can win this game. It's been proven. You can win this game with a sealed deck that was made 4 years ago. Right?
Yes.
The Snake Pit sealed deck is still good enough to win with basically no changes.
Yeah, no, that is one of the great things about this game, that you do not need. You don't have to. You're not having to basically chase rarities, get the quote unquote best cards to win. There are plenty of very basic common cards you can put in a deck and still make that deck incredibly viable.
Right.
I'm trying to think about if I have anything really that's. I do have. I do have in my Hurricane deck, because I'll use the deck I had the greatest success with. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't see a lot of play in there.
Right.
And yeah, you can play things like Flying Cutter, Nerf Hold. I always forget what the strike one is. Splash in the Corner.
Splash in the Corner, right.
And those are you can get that in any starter set, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're like dollar cards on the website.
Right.
And those are absolutely cards you can win with. I would actually argue, I've been thinking this for a while, the best recursion in this game is almost Shuffle Back Draw, because it's the least susceptible to stipulations.
Correct. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's it's the thing that gives you the most bang for your buck in, Ring of Fire, right? Where you have to lose a card every time you recur, but at least you get to keep the other one.
Yeah.
It's definitely. I think the meta of this game now, the game is big enough where the meta swings pretty wildly when something new is released.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately it's going to swing back to the point where people can't afford to run 3 Armenians. I think there's going to be something introduced, whether it's a character, an entrance, or a stipulation that's used more commonly than Liger's Den, that is going to force people away from 3 flip take 2 cards, right? Because that's just the current swing of the meta, which is, I think, to be expected. And eventually it'll swing back.
I believe that's all the talk I have for cards. I don't have any Kickstarter news outside of what we just brought up. February 23rd, I believe they have not moved off the noon start time. I haven't heard anything to that.
Yeah, I don't think it's been confirmed, but I think that's a pretty good assumption. The West Coast guys want to have a shot. We know Eddie Fury and Salty Sailor certainly have had plenty of new cards created, so it wouldn't shock me if they want to jump in and do that again.
Yeah. Also, let me bring this up now. You were at the Rumble at the Highlander? What was that like?
I was. It was great. That was my first time visiting Highlander games. The True Survivor did a great job getting everything organized. He sacrificed for all of us and didn't play so he could organize the event, which was very nice of him. I think that was another one of those surprising type days in terms of how everything went. You saw both Trebbings make the top cut. So
Yeah.
Vinny and Andrew both make the top cut. And then they end up together in a triple threat with Booker Mania, which is just amazing.
Yeah.
You saw Sage go through 2 triple threats in a row with Sam Lemuel and win them both. And on pregnancy brain, mind you, which is really impressive that she was able to even sit in one place that long and just deal with playing with John P. and Brian Schmidt and others who she had to play against, and they're always strategically thinking. Sage deserves a ton of credit for getting through that. And of course, losing to Google Docs Dan, who had already clearly done his research in the final round, or in the semifinal round. And then Dan goes on to lose to Amir, who had a 3-2 record. It's what are you going to say? Those kind of things happen, right? Those.
Hell yeah.
We talked about the randomness sometimes of the game.
When I won, not to bring it, not talk about, probably talk about me too much, but when I won Bound for Glory, 3-2 record. Stop.
Yep.
So yeah, you
sometimes limping in and then winning them all at the end is better.
I think that's how Sean Loeb won his Creative Competitor. I want to say
that's correct. He was one of the only 3-2s to make it based on strength of schedule.
And
if I recall.
so this is a game where once you get the top cut, anything can happen. You don't have to be undefeated. Like I said, you can take a deck that's basically performing at a 500 level and win a huge tournament with it.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the joy of the game. And then the sealed payoff pack battle royal was very good, and that's what gives me a lot of confidence that our sealed triple threat matches are going to be a lot of fun.
Now, how was the sealed battle royal?
It was great. So we opened us a payoff pack. Basically, of course, you play whatever you pulled, and you had to pick a singles competitor out of your stack to play as. So if you pulled an over the top card or an out of the ring card, which were both considered finishes, then you had a great advantage. And I was fortunate enough to have pulled one of each. I pulled one over the top. I can't remember which one exactly, and one out of the ring that was a lead. So I had a lead finish that would eventually become unstoppable based on the birdcage or based on the grand battle rules in my hand. And I played Rhaegar, which was probably not the best choice, but I kind of didn't have any better ones.
What else did you pull?
I did pull Peter Lionheart, but I would have only been able to blank the first the first person's finishes, not everybody's.
The gimmick didn't kick in when you came into the game. It kicked in.
Oh, unfortunately, I was number 2 in my pod.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. That would
It would have been much better if I was number 6 in my pod, and then I could have just picked whoever was left. But what ended up happening is I had Amir in my pod, so he draws number 1. He plays Eddie Fury, and if you've ever played a multi-stage match like this against Eddie Fury, you've already probably lost.
Yeah, because you're going to get to crowd meter 5, so he's going to have a power of 10.
Exactly.
So if he can just last until crowd meter 5, yeah.
Oh, and not only did he last, he hit the first 2 finishes on me.
Oh.
Which I was thankfully able to kick out of because, of course, there are no bonuses until you get pretty high up in the crowd meter.
I think it's 5.
Yeah, right. The bonuses don't start until everybody's in the ring. But he just went ham. I mean, he drew everything he needed. He was hitting all the turn rolls. Until finally we had a couple of other competitors make their way in, and there were more bump outs, and then things became a lot more random. So the ultimate makeup of my pod included Johnny Eldorado from the Dirty Jers portion of RCW. It included a new player from the Highlander group who had just moved from England 2 weeks ago. It included Amir, who had literally just won his Create a Competitor. It included 2 other people I don't even really know, to be honest. And among that 6 players, we had 2 Eddie Furies.
Oh, jeez.
So, and one of them drew number 6. So he came in immediately with 2 10s.
Jeez.
And when he came in, nobody had been eliminated yet in our pod. We were the only pod who went with the 1 and 2 both surviving all the way through until finally we eliminated Amir. So the number 1 went out. And then the dominoes started to fall a little bit, right? So then you're at the point where the over the top and out of the ring cards are you only get 1 breakout chance, and then eventually you don't get any breakout chances on those.
Right.
So people started going out pretty quickly to the over the top cards, and it was down to just me and a guy who was sitting next to me who had just moved from England and was only playing in his 4th game. I was holding an out of the ring card that he did not have a stop for, and I didn't win a turn roll. There was about 20 minutes in this match where I didn't draw a single card because I hadn't won a single turn. And it just came back to get me at the end, and he managed to outrun me and get his finish on the table. Of course, you don't get many stops in those payoff pack decks, so I didn't have the stop I needed, and he ended up winning and going on to the top table. And then the top table had again Vinny Trebbing at it, which is just incredible. That Vinny has been playing really well for someone that young, and he went on to win the payoff pack grand battle. So it came down a lot to the randomness of your characters and the randomness of your deck, but that also makes it a lot of fun. I think it's it's an enjoyable time and a lower stress time that you're just playing the create a competitor.
So did I think so? Vinny Trebbing, was that also create a competitor victory?
That was create a card. So
Vinny will get
to create a card, and then I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't see why he doesn't deserve a shot at the juniors championship the next time that he is in the same place as Jay Flash. Jay Flash is pretty much defended against everybody else under the sun at this point.
I believe so. Yeah, I don't think there's any other. He would probably be the next person in line, I would say. Yeah, I don't know of any other. I don't know of any other under 16 competitors right now that she has not faced.
Right. I mean, there are a lot of them that are deserving, but I don't think anyone that's more deserving than Vinny with a major win in a grand battle.
Yeah, until Ariel Lipstick goes on and starts talking about how she's got 18 defenses in her house.
You know what? She was there, and actually, she was fantastic. For those of you who have ever met the boss's daughter, she was great. It was a lot of fun seeing her play and seeing the boss sort of beam with pride as she plays, which obviously she'll get older and she'll get better, and I think he's looking forward to that time.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
Then it'll be
sorry.
Well, I was just going to say then it'll be really hard to stop them when the boss has her and then another child on the way. So
that's right. He's building his own faction organically.
That's right.
The crime is going from generation to generation.
Yeah, I mean, Sage has made it pretty clear she doesn't want to be involved in that crime wave stuff, but she hasn't really started her own group. She hasn't really started her own group either. Maybe when her and Ariel get a tag team, maybe they'll want to start something out there.
Well, this is getting pretty long, so I think while I'd love to keep talking to you, I think it's time on the show. I think it's time to kind of wrap it up.
Sounds good. Thank you very much for the time.
Yeah. One last thing before you go, just because I like to ask this of all the guests. So, how did you learn about the Supershow?
I was very fortunate that my shop owner, the guy who's going to be second, Chris Savoy, picked up the show 2 years ago at Origins. So it'll be Origins 2018. He got a demo from, I believe it would have been Steve at that time. And he decided to buy up a bunch of stock, a bunch of box sets, and bring them back to the store. At that time, I was playing Star Wars Destiny, which had just sort of caught fire. And then, of course, that fire went out this week, if you haven't already noticed.
No, I saw that they're not going to produce it anymore yet. Last set is the last set.
Exactly. RIP. So SRG outlasted another very well-funded, very well-popularized game that was not as well designed. And I think that says a lot about us. So I was playing Destiny at the time. I was looking for a second game. I don't like playing Magic. I've tried it before. And Chris knew I was a pro wrestling fan. There are a number of pro wrestling fans, and I would say the Deep South is, in terms of pro wrestling fandom, is one of the best areas in the country.
I agree.
So when he gave us the opportunity, he showed us the box sets. I believe the first one I bought was a Gen Con exclusive Vic Immortal. It was a great starter set. I immediately pretty much drifted towards Kenny Omega. He had a Kenny Omega singles competitor that I picked up, and I went to town on Kenny Omega first, and thankfully there were a number of other people in our store that wanted to play. We started basically playing this in between games of Destiny, and then by late summer we were playing Supershow more than Destiny. And then I went to my first national event at Unplugged and played it and lost to you in the semifinal round in 2018.
Yeah, was it Now, it had to be quarterfinals, was it? Or was that the tag?
I advanced, if I recall correctly, I went to the top 8 in that tournament, and because my opponent didn't show. So I actually got basically a bye in the top 16. And then you and I played, I thought, in the top. Was it the top 8 or top 4?
Had to be top, because the top 4 was myself, Loudmouth Leo, who I lost to, and then
Right.
Jeff Riley beat Chris Pagillo.
Okay, right. So yeah, so we played in the top. We played in the quarters.
The top 8. We played in the quarters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good game. I did not know at all how Johnny Gargano worked at that time. I remember being like very surprised that anybody was that good, and he's still that good.
He's still pretty good too. I break him out every now and then. Who were you playing in that match?
That was Kenny. I was the only deck I had made at that point was Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega.
I wasn't.
I've heard some people are high on him, some people aren't. His gimmick's nice when you're hitting it.
Yeah, you got to hit grapples, and I have found that I am much more of a shin strike power roller, so I got away from playing Kenny. I mean, I still enjoy him, but I just don't roll him well enough.
Yeah, I like to. For me, I kind of prefer gimmicks based on words and cards rather than rolling.
Yep,
it's just me.
There's a whole school of thought on this. We could spend another episode talking about that sometime.
We can, but let's. But yeah, so I'm glad you found the game basically the same time I found it too, because that's how I found it. I Origins 2018 walked by John Glace gave I don't know if you ever met him, a guy named Jared Bridge. He was at PAX. He was my tag partner at PAX Unplugged.
Okay.
And he's been around. He came with me to the first Flat Saturday. He plays here and there, but not as much as I. But I mean, he was at Origins last year playing. He'll be at Origins this year, I'm sure, playing.
Yeah, I mean, I learned in what might be an exclusive from John Calais last week that we're booked for the same space at Origins this year that we had last year, which I think is very exciting.
It is. That is a Mudcast exclusive. I don't think that's been reported anywhere else. That was a great space we had. I don't know if the booth where they're set, the booth from the dealer hall is going to be the same spot, but the space we had, that was a great play space. If we could get play space like that everywhere else, that'd be good. Of course, I don't know what all is involved in getting that kind of space, but
exactly, yeah. I mean, take it from somebody who's been to almost everything. I mean, I went to almost every con or event in the past year and a half, and the most fun that we have is where we can buy and play all hours of the day and night without having to go on the main floor. And that's, basically the only places we've been able to do that are Origins and PAX South, actually. So, if you're thinking about conventions to go to where you just want to be able to play and not have to get pulled into other things, of course, Grand Gathering, but but in terms of the public conventions, PAX South had a great setup, and this year was even better, and of course, Origins like that as well.
So I think that this is going to be the place to stop. It's going to be a long one, folks. For those of you who like that, I hope you enjoy it. For those of you who don't like that, I still hope you enjoy it. I'm going to give the rundown of the list I have of local play groups, and then that will be it. So I will start with the home store of my guest host, Robert the Brain Dunn. Florida Cardboard Wrestling plays at House Rules Gaming in Kissimmee, Florida. Sundays. I have 6:30 p.m. on my list. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, that's good enough. As long as you're there by 7, you're on time.
Yeah. Buckeye Championship Wrestling. We play Saturday evenings at 6 p.m. at the Guard Tower in Columbus, Ohio. Although I'm not sure if we'll be doing that because next weekend, Rust Belt Wrestling, which normally plays Mondays at 6 p.m. at Recess Games in North Olmsted, and also they're playing Sundays around noon now. Next weekend, they are hosting their Create a Card competition, starting, I believe, at 11 a.m. at Recess Games in North Olmsted. I believe it's a $15 entrance fee, and the winner will be able to create a card in the Supershow. Next, we'll go east to LFF Tri-State. They play at a store of Fire and Dice in Lynbrook, New York, Thursday nights at 7 p.m. City of Champions Wrestling plays at Titan Game Shop in Hopewell, Pennsylvania. They play around noon, sometimes Saturday, sometimes Sunday. I checked with them. Up to our north in Michigan, there's a few different locations. Pandemonium is in Westland, Michigan, is the host of New Order Wrestling. They play Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. There's also a group at Destiny Games. That same city, they play Wednesdays at 6:30. And on the second and fourth Sunday of every month, you can travel up to Fanfare Comics in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and join the Skull Group playing starting at noon on those days. Out west, we have Sin City Wrestling. They play at Atomic Trading in Las Vegas, Nevada, Wednesdays at 6 p.m. And, didn't get to bring it up, but Wizards Card Championship Wrestling plays at Wizards Asylum Comics and Games in Normal, Oklahoma. They are, of course, hosting Wizards Mania on the 29th of this month. Their own create competitor competition just, I believe, the week after the Sunshine Smackdown.
That's right.
That's right.
And of course, if you can't make it to us, go to them. Next year, we're gonna try to space it out a little better. I do want to try to make it so more people can get to more events if they're willing to travel. And apologize for those being so close. For those of you who are trying to do both.
And it's it's one of those things where it was like there was nothing, and then you did yours, and then they announced theirs. And then, of course, then I believe the last one to announce was Rust Belt on the 8th. Of course, I didn't even bring up Level Up Expo, which is going to be 2 weekends from now, and also in Las Vegas, where they're doing that convention. I believe the 17th to the 19th.
It's actually the same weekend as our event. They're doing that the 21st to the 23rd.
Okay, I'm sorry about that, folks. 21st to 23rd. So not even on the right days. That's what going off the top of my head gets me. But yeah, Level Up Expo is going to be that same weekend as you guys. So there'll at least be a Super Show going on in two halves of the country that week. We're going coast to coast with the Super Show that weekend. All right. So in New England, Revolutionary Championship Wrestling has 3 locations where they play at. They play at New England Comics and Games in New Bedford, Massachusetts, Wednesdays from 3 to 6 and Saturdays from 11 to 4. We have Tabletop Games in Westport, Massachusetts, has games Tuesdays from 3:30 to 6. And Game King in Fall River, Mass. hosts games Sundays. I have down from 5 to 9, although I think they're going earlier now. I'm not 100% on that. Island Life Wrestling in Oakdale, New York. East End Gaming plays Wednesdays and Fridays. There are 2 locations at the Alternate Universes stores in Pennsylvania. The AU Bluebell store in East Norriton, Pennsylvania hosts games Thursdays at 7 p.m. And the AU Holmes store in Holmes, Pennsylvania hosts games Sundays at noon. And finally, the promotion that is partnering with Florida Cardboard Wrestling as part of the Sunshine Smackdown Asylum Championship Card Wrestling. They play at Heroic Gaming in Roswell, Georgia, Monday nights from 7 to 10 p.m. If you'd like to be added to this list, your promotion, or if you just like to leave any comments or feedback or ask questions, you can reach out and contact the show in a couple of different ways. You can email us. We're outlawmudcast@gmail.com. You can reach out to me directly. I'm Michael Kirk through Facebook Messenger. Or you can send us a direct message on Twitter. We're at Outlaw Mudcast on Twitter. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we end?
Just keep rolling and keep having fun. That's what it's all about, people.
That is what it's all about. Keep rolling, try to have fun. That's a lesson I need to keep and to learn for myself. So, for my special guest host, Robert the Brain Dunn, I'm Uncle Kirk. Thank you, and good day.